Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit more casual, a little bit more like authentic and a little bit more random. I had a video planned for this week, and then every time I went to do it I was like quite honestly bored and uninspired, and I'm like, I'm just going to like free flow with something that I've been doing a lot of like inner reflection on. And these are these two ideas of giving yourself your own permission and also trusting yourself and trusting this deep inner like knowing that you have, rather than these old conditioned patterns and these neurological networks and these like sort of familiar ways of being, and giving your power away to other people. So basically what happened was a few months ago I joined this thing and it didn't really feel aligned. Like something felt a little off, but I ignored that and sort of had the idea and that, just keep doing it and it will be good. And so basically a bunch of other things happened, etc., etc. And I could come up with a huge story, but essentially the lesson learned was to listen to yourself and that you know the answer. And it was also really interesting that when I was kind of like debating if I wanted to continue and like kind of in this like conflict and this indecisive mode of like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? I was asked the question from another one of my coaches that was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, like it's good in this way and then it's like bad in this way and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, if you knew what you wanted to do, what would you do? And I was like, oh my God, I quit. I would like not even look at it again. I'd pretend that this didn't happen. And like, I just like want nothing to do with it. Like my truth just like spewed out of my mouth of like what I actually wanted to do. And it was really interesting to like kind of see that. And I see that with a lot of my clients too, is that I'll ask them a question on like, well, what do you want to do? And like, you have the answer, like, you know what you want to do. And then they'll say things like, well, like, I'm not sure, like, I don't know, or like I can't see clearly. And that's all super, super valid. And it's kind of like there's these like conditioned patterns and there's their like familiarity. And it's almost like there's just so much nonsense going up that like we've kind of lost the ability to tune in to like what's actually real and present. And we get into these like old patterns of either like people pleasing or like not trusting yourself, or I don't even know, there's a variety of them. And also when people are asking like, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I not do this? What should I do? In this situation, what should I do? And sometimes it's good to have feedback and different perspectives to like add to the holistic picture of things. But oftentimes you already know the answer. You don't need someone else, and you're just not trusting yourself and not valuing yourself enough to just be like, okay, I already know. I already know. Why are you asking anyone else? And also, the things that anyone else do is just their own perception of what's going on, filtered through their own experiences and their own bias and their own fears and their own judgment. So sometimes it's like, okay, do I actually even need to ask this person? And understanding why you're asking this person. Are you asking it of an intent of like, okay, I just kind of like want to gain more perspective? Or is it like, I'm just waiting and I need someone to tell me what to do, and like I don't know, I can't think for myself and I have no value of myself and I feel really disempowered and I'm giving my power away to like whatever someone else thinks. It's like, no, back up. Back up. Like, you know what to do. Like, stop giving your power away. You're good. But it's almost like we just don't trust ourselves, and then we can't see clearly, and then things just come jumbled up there. Rather than, taking some time, gaining some presence, and being like, what is actually true for me? Like, what do I actually want to do? Or like, what do I know to be true? That's done just by either like asking yourself those questions and trusting that the answer is going to come. But sometimes it takes a little bit more of like calming the mind and even getting your mind into a different brainwave state. So usually we're in this beta wave brainwave state, which is like this highly analytical, you're always thinking blah, 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 go, 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 all these stories are happening. Then you have your emotions that are just like going on and you're addicted to your emotions, and then your thoughts and your thoughts and your stories are matching your emotions, and it just kind of becomes overwhelming and you kind of lose contact with like the essence of who you actually are. And so another thing that you can do is like taking time to journal and allowing what actually needs to come out without filtering it or editing it or like thinking that it's mean or like, thinking someone else is going to find the journal and like you can't actually write your truth. And all of these different like things that come up. It's also meditating and like quieting that part of your mind so you can actually receive answers, and you can actually like tune in to like what's actually true. Breathwork is another good way to do it if none of those really resonate with you. It's just another interesting like time in my life where I hadn't trusted myself, and I kind of like almost needed permission to trust myself. And that leads me into the second topic, which is giving yourself permission. And so another really, really interesting pattern that came up with was me kind of seeking the external validation and external permission for what I already knew to be true. And so when this came up, I was like, I don't know, like, do I even like believe this? And like, I knew that I believed it. I knew what was right, but I almost was like calling other people or asking other people their opinions because I simply just needed the permission. And then it reminded me of like, where does this even come from? And I was thinking back to like in elementary school, I don't know if you remember, but we used to have to like ask to use the washroom. And I guess I suppose I understand that from like an organizational way and like someone trying to keep track of all these like kids that really don't really know what's going on. But I also feel like in another way, it's kind of weird. And it kind of like conditions the mind and the psyche to like be like needing the permission from someone else that they deem as superior, or someone else that they like subordinate to do what they actually want to do. And actually, I still think you had to ask to go to the bathroom in like high school, which is like, and I don't know, I guess there's a function for it, but it's also just, I feel, part of the societal conditioning, let alone the conditioning from your family. We're still around the same things of like subordinating our values. And it's kind of like we haven't really grown out of that in some ways. And we're still kind of like waiting for the approval, or waiting for the validation, or waiting for the permission from someone else, your parents, your sisters, whoever you gave essentially your power away to. And you're stuck in this like conditioning from. And then it's so easy to just not even realize that you're doing that and keep doing that until you're like, wait, I actually don't need their permission. And like, the only permission that I actually need is for myself. And that's just something that I have to keep reminding myself, to just give myself my own permission. Honestly, no one's going to come give me permission. No one's going to come give you permission. If you're waiting for that, you're probably going to be waiting for a long time, and you're going to be waiting out on things that you actually want to do that you just are waiting for someone to tell you to do. And I think I remember listening to something like a little bit ago. I don't know if it was Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, and they gave the example of like, no one gave them permission to go and create what they wanted to create. They gave themselves their own permission to go and do that, and then they went and did it, right? It's like, it's sometimes we keep ourselves so stuck in the familiar, or keep ourselves so stuck in like comfort because we're just waiting for someone to go give us permission, instead of just tuning in and saying, okay, I'm going to give myself my own permission to go and do this, and kind of breaking away from these like excuses and fears and doubts and limitations that we place over ourselves to actually go out and do what we want to do and listen to what we know to be true. So I don't know, these is just my random thoughts and these about sort of what I was reflecting on this week. I don't know if this is helpful for anyone else, but maybe just a reminder that stop waiting for someone else's approval and stop waiting for someone else's permission to go and do what you actually want to do, and possibly tune in to you already knowing the answers of what's true for you and listening to that rather than like seeking that from anyone outside of yourself. Also knowing that the external world is a mirror reflection of what's going on inside. Anyways, subscribe to the channel, share this with anyone else who needs to hear this message, to tune in and to follow what they know to be true, and have the best day.